Welcome.
Seems super awkward in the beginning.
Yes, that's okay.
Great.
Welcome to Monday Night Live Chat, episode 42. We are here with Paz Window Cleaning with Andy and Ashley. And this is our first episode with having guests on. So we want to start doing this more. So if right when we mentioned it, what do you want to say?
Technically, we had Alex on.
Oh, yeah, we did have Alex and everybody Nissan.
Shirtless, sleeveless wonder.
I'm so sorry. I forgot about that. Just so forget.
He doesn't watch. Don't worry. He won't.
Yeah, he doesn't. He never watches any of this stuff. He could care less what one clip is or two clip or no clip. Doesn't matter. Real quickly, I want to say a big thank you to our sponsors, Window Cleaning Resource and Jobber. Jobber is a customer relationship management where you can organize your customers, payments, schedule, all that good stuff. So anyways, if we have some people leave, it's just, it's technology. That's just what happens. So no worries at all. Yeah. Andy and Ashley, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourselves? I know you're a window cleaning business out of California. Tell us about yourselves.
Yeah, so we're based here in Pasadena, California. I started this business back in 2016, and then from there, it just kind of fell on my lap. It was like a friend of mine from Houston. He started a window cleaning business, and I was going to school for small business. So from there, he just kind of had that idea, and then a friend of mine was like, "Oh, what are you gonna do like after college?" And I was like, "I don't know, maybe doing window cleaning." And she's like, "Oh, do my windows." And she ended up having like 1,250 windows. So I could say doing inside and out, I became a professional because if I messed up on one of them, I had, another 1,000 to go. So, but after that, just kept going. And then I kind of made that a career. Like it was referrals. And then after that, time went on. And then I met the love of my life. And then from there, we ended up getting married, and then you started to join the business, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How do you enjoy window cleaning? Because I used to work with my wife a little bit. It lasted about a year and a half, and then we decided it was best to not do that anymore. But how does that go as far as working together? How long has it been since you guys have worked together?
About a year.
About a year. Yeah. So
it's because
I'm sickened.
Yeah, we got married in Brazil, actually. So we were there for 2 years, and then I moved here because of the time of immigration and everything. Mm-hmm. So when I arrived, it was funny. I had everything. I had a job and everything. I had the permits to work. So it was awesome because I came and I had everything already, because it's hard to come to another country and find work and adapt to like teamwork and stuff. So it was very nice. But how do you like?
Yeah, I love it because being I don't know. For me, I prefer to just be like a solo operator. I just think that it's a little bit easier. I know other companies do that, like with having a crew, which is understandable, and that's their way of doing business. But I think it's too much of a headache to manage everyone. So, so just for me personally, and so what I ended up doing was when we got married, I was like, "Would you want to do window cleaning?" And she's like, "Yeah, that would be easy," And I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right." So, but I made sure that I did the outside windows doing water fed, and then she did the inside. And so I trained her a little bit in Brazil. So that was kind of fun. So she's like, "Oh, you're really good at window cleaning. Why don't you just clean all our windows like every week?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I kind of shot myself."
Yeah, there you go. I always want to go ahead.
I was going to say, I didn't want to steal your thunder, but I also met my soulmate because of window cleaning. So.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, right there.
So weird. Now, when you started window cleaning, was it something where you went like part-time with another job? Because I asked that because so many window cleaners, when they start, as far as like their own business, they'll have like a full-time job, then they'll start window cleaning part-time, and then they'll kind of maneuver that into their full-time job, drop the other job. Was that like the same thing for you?
Actually, it was kind of the opposite. I actually had no work at all. So I applied at In-N-Out. I don't know if they have it where you guys are at, but I applied a few In-N-Outs, Trader Joe's even. And like I got like the interview and I did the interview process, but never got accepted. So it was kind of like a little bit, disappointing kind of going through that. But once my friend was like, "Do my windows," then like her neighbor like across the street was like, "Oh, I want mine done too." So it was kind of in that sense kind of nice because then it's like, oh, now I actually have a job, and so that's kind of how it ended up being.
So you always want to do you want to keep it like just owner operator, you too, or you kind of look into one day scale? I'm on the side of that. I love that idea of like being an owner operator. Jersey's on the side of grow that business, make it huge.
Yeah.
We always have that great like yin and yang of being different of it. But like, what is your kind of like mission for your business as of now today?
What do you think?
So I think we have two opinions too, him and I.
Yeah, we should probably put the camera like in the middle.
Yeah.
You guys,
Yeah, I think like it's a very good business to grow. Like you can do so much. Like here where we live, we focus more in.
That's
That's
tends to
technology.
happen with it, but
That's
there you go.
that's Wi-Fi. It's okay.
Yeah.
All right, sorry about
There we
that.
are.
Okay, so,
No worries.
Okay.
yeah, residential.
So we focus more on residential, but there's so much commercial to do, and we do commercial, but it's very hard on us. Like it's a lot to do just two people, and pretty much when it's commercial, it's just Andy because he does outside, and the machine is too heavy for me. I can't do like 3-4 story, buildings with the machine. So maybe one day, I don't know.
Yeah, we just only do outside. We don't do storefronts either because, as you could imagine, I mean, everywhere's different. That's why I like to always say that. But here, storefronts are so scattered everywhere that it doesn't make sense for us. Like when I first started, I did do storefronts. And then from there, what ended up happening was like one was here, one was in a different city, and I try to expand on the sides, through the other jobs or the other businesses, and it just wasn't working. And then sometimes they didn't pay, so then I had to always have to be at a job site, like, hey, I didn't get it. So it was kind of like a one and done with storefronts. But yeah, commercials normally we just do kind of just outside. 2-3 story commercial. I had Steve help me out with one. It was like a 4-story one, and man, that thing was like a project that had so much build up for so long that it was like, and no matter what I did to it, it just wasn't getting cleaned. And I mean, they said it was okay, so we just kept going.
That was the dealership, right? With the curved glass at the top. Was that?
No, it wasn't the dealership. It was just the office building.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
So it was.
It looked like rust in the windows. I never saw that before. It was very, very weird.
It was like a gray layer, and it was not hard water because it was like on the second floor, and it was just like this thick layer of gray. And that's why I called you. I was like, "Hey, Steve's like, what do you do with this?" I mean, the only way would probably be like some type of acid or I don't know, but yeah, it's just nothing we did. Soap and water didn't fix it. The water fed, and I mean, it looked better. So we're not going to say that it didn't look better, but. I think they didn't clean their windows for like 20 years. So, I mean, yeah.
Typical. I used to do a job where literally I felt like we put more hard water stains on the glass than removed them by the end of it, because this was when like I worked with like fish. And by the time we got done with this, it was like a government state building. You would see like hard water mountains on the glass, and the customer was just super happy about it. You go around squeegee, your squeegee just drag on hard water stains, and you'd almost leave like rainbow marks like in the path of it. They just didn't care. And it was okay, sounds good. They just wanted it clean. Like they literally just needed to spend that money, and they didn't even care what the outside looked like.
Yeah. We just need to spend it so we get it next year is all we have to do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's
by the way, if you're here watching, I want to ask a question. I want to know if you're in the comments right now. Tell me if you do residential, route, or commercial, or all three. List all of them that you do, because I'd like to see that. That's pretty great that you guys get to kind of pick and choose what you do. Just that's what you want to do. You don't want to have to do everything. You're finding your niche.
Yeah, it's mainly because we're just in the area that we're in. It's like, of course, LA is so spread out that, it's just has so many, like, I tell all the time, like, even like a lot, like even other people have mentioned to me, like, oh, aren't you afraid you're going to lose business, and like trying to help others. I'm like, even if I could do all the windows in this whole like city of LA and Pasadena and all that, even with crews, even with like there's no way that I can do it all, right? Especially if they want twice a year done, right? So it's like, so if the other people are out there, like go for it. Yeah, there's no problem with that. And hopefully, obviously what's most important is that the customer gets the service done.
Right. Definitely. I feel like storefronts, it's one of those things too, right? When I tell people like, hey, I really want to do it. And it's like, well, you're going to have to like grind. Like you're going to have to put a couple years of going out and basically doing 20 to 30 quotes a day. You may close 2 to 3, and you're going to do that for basically a long, long time. And to get it like organized and to get it good. Like I remember always when I started at Fish, I used to talk to the manager quite a bit about how she grew the business. And that was the main thing. She said, she goes, for 2 years, every day, all day, all I did was go fill out quotes, give them it, and then just call them like 3 times. I don't know how many like I really got, but I built basically routes for about 5 guys full time. And like, that's a lot. That's a lot of work too, when you consider some of these storefronts are, 5 to 10 windows and you're in and out of there quick. But it's one of those things. It doesn't work in all areas, and it doesn't work unless the stuff is very, very close. Like you almost want to be able to park your car and you want to be able to walk around like a town for like 3 hours and just have it be that. So,
yeah.
When you did route work, was all of the routes very like not congested, but like very filled in as far as you could just go and spend like hours? I remember you always talking about like a downtown area that you always did like that.
Yeah, we had like pockets. So our routes were really kind of nice because every time you'd stop the truck, like after a while, like you said, you got to take forever. But after a truck would stop, they'd get out and he would just be like, we had one area, he was there for like 3.5 hours, never turned the truck back on, So he's just like doing routes, boom, 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 and then come back. And then he would go to the next place and be there for like another 2 hours or whatever. So it was concentrated, but like in little pockets, not just all over the place. I don't know how Chris does it. If you've like looked at there, like when you drive around Jersey, like that whole area, it's like, oh, there's like a deli in the middle of a neighborhood.
Yeah.
And then there's not another place around for a while. There's like no like set, area for routes. So I wouldn't have been able to do it for that, I don't think.
Let me ask you a question, Andy. So Pasadena, are you kind of in an area that's very like hilly in California, or okay, yeah. So like kind of like I lived in kind of the San Francisco area for a bit and spent a lot of time like Santa Cruz and that area. And it always seemed like, if I could think back, like, man, it's the same thing. Like you go around and like there's a little coffee shop here. And then you go like 5-10 minutes, a little restaurant here. But yeah, there's not like these big shopping malls other than along like the main highways, in the cities and stuff.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of hills for sure. And that's kind of like, you get a random address and you're like, oh, that exists. And you're like, yeah, you just keep going up the road and you'll take a right when you see a tree. And you're like, okay, sounds kind of sketchy, but okay. So you show up, find that tree, take a right. You're like, oh, wow, there's a huge house here. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I know you're into solar cleaning, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So one thing we talk to a lot of people about is in California, it comes up a lot with people wanting water fed pole systems, and it's huge for solar panel cleaning. And sometimes I don't know if I'm really right when I say this, but from what I know in California now, it's becoming like mandatory for homes to have solar panels if they're built, as far as that goes. So do you find solar panel cleaning being a pretty good revenue builder, or?
It's on and off, just because you would think of solar panels. I mean, I don't know how much you guys charge, but we charge like $10 a solar panel. So the thing with that is that they might just have like 1 or 2. So even though like you're saying about the law, you might think, oh, they'll have like at least 5 or 10 or something like that. Most times, just to get past that law, I think they just get like a couple of them. That's what it seems like to me, because they'll be like, oh, we just have only 2 solar panels. But we did do one house here in Pasadena he had the title, or however it was, that he had the most solar panels in Pasadena. And so it was kind of like crazy. You go to his house, it's all futuristic. Like the whole house is like glass, and all his solar panels, like, man, do you have more space here for more? And he's like, yeah, I wanted to, but Pasadena, like I was making too much money off of them. So they capped me. And I was like, well, there you go.
Nice.
I think it's great. And what we try to do is we try to not to like upsell, but we do say like, hey, we offer solar panel cleaning, but if we're there, we can also clean your windows. It could just be the outside. And yeah, a handful of times they're like, oh, let's just do that then. And so at least we can get it like a 2-for-1. And if they just want their solar panels, then we just, do the solar panels by itself.
Yeah, definitely.
I have a question. Where if as a company that like in your head, you kind of want to stay more like a owner operator part, where would your happy place be? If you could right now wave a wand, like what would that like dollar amount, hours per week, kind of like, what would that look like for you to be like your perfect spot?
Dollar amount, or wait, I didn't get that. Sorry.
Yeah. So like the dollar, like some people are like, I want $100,000, but like, what would your hours per week be? Like, what would that look like for you? Perfect.
Yes. So for us, I mean, do you want to answer that or? Yeah, okay.
She said, no, I got a different
Okay.
idea, so you can answer it.
So we actually kind of funny, like we focus more on kind of like not overdoing it, but keeping a balanced life. So we actually work like 3 days a week. Rarely we'll work 3 to 4 days a week. Rarely we work 5. We like to have a day off. And that's kind of what we try to focus on, is that we'll try to like, maybe if there's a job, we'd like to do 1 job a day. That's another thing. We like to do 1 job a day. We're trying not to stress ourselves out. You know, a lot of people can do 3 jobs. Sure, it is possible, but we just kind of, it's just her and I, and it's so nice. I don't know, that it's like a reward to come home at like 2:00 in the afternoon and just like have like, you know, even like sparkling water, just like relax. You know, I know it sounds funny, but
I get it.
That feeling is like so nice.
Yeah.
Whereas if I work 2 jobs,
2 jobs.
2
I'll
jobs.
be right back. We're at 2 jobs. We're at 2 jobs. Working 2 jobs.
Drum
We're
roll.
getting there. We're getting back.
Oh, God.
No.
I think I don't
All
know
right.
if there's something off, but yeah, we like to do 2. Like if we do 2 jobs, it'll be like very stressful, because then we're like, because we like to have a policy that is kind of like, once we're done with the job, you tell me like if there's anything that needs to be touched up. You know, oh, a screen's coming off, no problem. You know, we have a policy too for 7 days, but we like to just do everything that moment. Let's see if everything is good, and then from there we move on to the next job. But I don't like that feeling that it's like, oh man, you know, we expect it to be done at 1. Now it's already 2:30. The other client's waiting, and we told them we were going to be there sooner. And then it kind of starts getting all together. So I guess for us, I think working 3-4 days a week, having that one job a day, depending to if it's an easy job, maybe we could do 2, and then just kind of take the day off 1 day, and then the weekends, we don't work weekends either. So we might do a bid occasionally. We try not to, but especially with like right now, it's kind of like ramping up work, which is kind of cool. Now we're kind of like, okay, now we don't have to do bids on the weekends anymore, because, you know, we're already out.
But in the summer, we do work like sometimes 2 jobs a day. Depends of the job. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, it's good though to have like where you exactly want to be, and you're not like questioning it. And that's something that I think a lot of people have a hard time with, is just deciding on exactly what my structure is going to be, what my days are going to be organized like. And I was always that way, just jumping from like thing to thing. Or we would always be in the situation of like, if a home called at 3 p.m. and we looked at the schedule and we said, do we have any time tomorrow? No, but we have time today on the way home. Yep. All 4 of us would conjoin at that house, and we would just try to get it done within that hour. And I remember like many, many days ending where sun was coming down. Whenever daylight savings time happened every single year in the fall was like my happiest moment. Cause like when I used to work with Jim was an animal, man. This dude, he like, if there was a minute left in the day and we could get a job done, it was getting done. But every single year in the fall when daylight savings time came, I was like, oh man, now I get an hour back of my day. Like the sun will go down and we can't clean windows at night. And that's something like I never did. But no, that's really good though, to be able to have it like organized, because there's a lot of people, we talk about it a lot, Jersey and I, about burnout. And burnout's a real thing, and it can really hinder you. And sometimes it's extremely hard to get out. I've dealt with it. especially with YouTube, like any job. I just get way too into it, and it's a hard thing to pull back once you're in.
Talk about burnout, if you don't mind. So when we were living in Brazil, and I would come back to work, I would come like periodically, like every couple of months, I'll come back and work and all that. I had that like double-edged sword that I was like, okay, so I am gonna be here, let's say a month, right? And I'm like, okay, so every day that I take off is 1 day I have less of, you know, job opportunities at work, right? So what happened was, when I first came back and I was like all stoked, I was like, yeah, let's go do this. I would work 7 days a week. And then like week 2 was like the 3rd day in, I was like, what in the world am I doing? And so I was like, oh, so ever since then, like you were saying about burnout, it's good. You have to have a day off. You have to. You can't like avoid, unless you're going to take like a few days off the next week, then I guess so. But yeah, it's like, I was like, okay, never again am I going to work 7 days a week. I mean, and there were easy jobs in the sense that, you know, it was from like, let's say 8 to 5, and, you know, it wasn't working like until midnight or anything like that. So, but yeah, burnout is totally a hard thing if you don't control it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just a lot of people get into business so that they have the freedom. Everybody starts a business. Every single person you've ever talked to, why do you want to start a business? Oh, it'll be great. I'll just make my own schedule. Like, and then they get into it, and then all of a sudden they become like more of a slave to the money than they ever were. And then they're like, I just got to do this. I got to get it while I can. And then all of a sudden they like gave up all the freedom and they swapped it for money, you know?
Yeah.
I've seen many like that where they almost call themselves like, I mean, I think you maybe just said it, but like imprisoned to their business, which is just like a crazy thing to think of, you know? So let's see here. I had some more questions too. Your transportation, you guys use a truck. Everyone always loves to hear about what someone uses, if they use a van or a truck or like what they're getting around with. I think you picked up a new car this year, right?
Yeah, the Ford Maverick.
Nice.
It's awesome. It's a hybrid, and that thing, I think since I bought it, I only filled up, I think, twice. Never.
That's true.
Yeah,
we never fill.
Yeah, we never fill up. So, but again, we don't drive far because Pasadena and all the cities around are very close by. So we're not driving like 20, 30 miles one way or whatever. So that kind of helps. But you want to explain how we ended up with that car? What happened at CarMax?
No, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, because we saw your video about having the Ford Transit, right? The one that you had. So we were thinking about getting that. I had a RAV4.
RAV4.
It's a great vehicle.
RAV4 by Toyota. It's one of the leading vehicles in the world. And,
you know, he's doing this. He's building the suspension.
Okay, we're good.
So here's the deal.
I should say subscribe first and then cut out. No.
Subscribe for part 2.
Yeah, no. So I had a RAV4. It was my personal vehicle, even like before I was kind of getting into window cleaning. So it was kind of like a personal transition to like a business, right? Business vehicle. But, you know, it was kind of just like getting a little bit too much of like, I didn't feel professional, you know, like I felt like it's a good car. I had no problems. It was super reliable. And it was just like, I would come up with magnets, you know, like I would just put magnets. And then I saw Jersey's podcast. He's like, yeah, it's like part-time, you know, you take off, put the magnets on, take it off, you know, it's like, yeah. Oh, well, yeah. So one bid I went and I only had one magnet when I arrived. So I was like, yeah, I think it's a good time to upgrade the car or whatever. But we went to CarMax, and so they don't have Ford Transits anymore. So that was kind of like a bummer. So we were like, well, let's get a used one, right? Like if that's a good deal or whatever. She got in the car, and she's like, I don't like this whatsoever. Not that the car is bad. It's just she's like, I don't like this. This is like too like it's. I don't like. What did you think of it?
I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then we were, you know.
It's very like work oriented.
Oh yeah,
like services like that. Like it's not. Yeah, I 100% agree. Like once I was able to kind of get rid of mine, I didn't really need it anymore. I did not lose any sleep over it. I was like, all right, see you later. Like,
yeah, with that car, there's a grow in the business, so you have to have a cute car too. You know, I feel like with that car, like. You're gonna open the door and 5 guys are gonna come out.
Okay.
Damn. All right.
Too manly. It's too manly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right. No, I hear you.
We were like going to like what was it, the Toyota for the Tacomas, right? Because obviously those are like super reliable. And so then we got in the truck and we drove around. I was like, you know, we're paying like a lot of money for a truck that it had no features whatsoever. And so. Long story short, literally right when we were test driving it, they had a Ford Maverick right next to it at CarMax. And I was like, oh, this looks pretty cool. And she's like, oh, yeah. So we went in and we're like, oh, this is the car. And we were like, this is great. So all in all, we ended up getting one through the dealership. And come to find out, they had one even sooner than what we expected. And so it was even a higher trim model, too. So we're like, okay, great. So to this day, I still get emails from Ford like, your car is still being built. And I'm like, great. I'll never see it.
Selling it every moment.
Now, I know you have a YouTube video about this, but we're talking about car magnets. People always ask about, you know, what way are you advertising with your car? And I think you've done not a wrap, but you've done a lot of lettering and your logo on your car. Since you've done that, have you found that you're getting more calls from that? Like, do you find that was a good thing to do?
All the time. What do you think?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like we kind of found like a spot that we kind of like to. That's what it was.
If you would have been like, no, the magnets are way better. I'd just be like,
oh yeah. Sure. I mean,
oops, my feed just cut out.
I mean, it has its place. I think we got ours at Vistaprint, and it was like $100 for 2 of them.
It's a good start.
Yeah, I would like, of course, you know, because what we spend was like thousands of dollars for the wrap. So, you know what I mean? Like in the beginning, you know, but yeah, we have a little spot that we like to do some of our YouTube videos at. And so we always park the car. It's at the Rose Bowl. And so we park the car there, and there's a lot of people running. They have like a thing that they like run around. It's kind of like a community thing that's pretty cool. So, you know, for people to exercise. And I didn't realize that until afterwards. I was like, man, this is a great spot to do like YouTube videos because people are running. They're like, oh, is that a QR code? Let me take a picture, you know? So
Yeah,
it's like,
there you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah,
That's
I got a few calls from that. And especially when we park into the driveway. Now we park outside the driveway.
Park outside.
I knew that one was coming.
Yep.
I knew that.
Oh, the anticipation is killing me. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
By the way, as he's coming back, I just want to point out that Bryson said Thursday is his last day at his full-time job, and he is going to be an official full-time window cleaner. I just want to say congrats to that. That's huge.
That's huge.
Good timing too, especially with spring.
Yeah.
It's the best time on my camera. Okay, we're good. Hallman Window Washing says, I love your YouTube channel. And what are your goals with it? This is to you, Andy.
Oh, to us?
Yeah.
Just kind of like,
It's just me. It's just I have to get my camera going.
I think it's just more to like help everyone, you know, because like there's so much content out there, but yet it's kind of hard sometimes to isolate which one is like the correct content. You know, there might be people making like apparently like $1 million by themselves going door to door. And I'm like, okay, well, if that works for you, but in reality, it doesn't. Right. And so if you're working by yourself, but yeah, it's just kind of growing the channel, just trying to help people out with tips and tricks and just, I don't know. It's just
the channel also wants to show the reality of the life of the window cleaning. Like right now, we're not gonna make numbers up because it doesn't look good on YouTube. That is low season, you know. So just like share our life as a window cleaning.
So you're saying that you're not doing $4,000 a day door knocking?
No. Then I wake up, but yeah.
Yes, I have a 1.2 star business, and I do.
Since we're talking about it, I would love. We've shared like our feelings about it. You don't have to, if you don't want to go too far into it, do whatever you want.
Revved up.
But
come on, Steve. How
do you feel just about it's a definitely a new fad in window cleaning. It really hit last year in the spring. Jersey and you may be talking to a lot more young people through YouTube or Instagram or maybe emailing you. So that's definitely brought in a whole younger crowd that is, you know, just going into their neighborhoods and using a water-fed pole, typically cleaning outside only. But like, have you ever used door knocking to get customers, or how is your view about it? There's no right or wrong answer with that one.
Yeah, no. Do you want to answer it or want me to answer it?
You can go for it.
Yeah, okay. I would say, you know, it depends. Like I have been reached out by a few people about that same question. I know both sides of your story, like you guys, how your viewpoints are. And there's really the way I see it, no wrong answer in a sense of how badly do you want your business to work, right? Yeah. So for example, when I first started, I got that huge mansion job just out of the blue, right? Because of my friend. But yet at that point, like I mentioned earlier, I went with a door to door, like I think a couple of blocks from where she lived, and I got 2 jobs from that. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because while I could be doing that, I would also do online advertising, all this, because you're nobody, right? When you first start. So you need to have some type of presence, but yet you still need the money to support, you know, like the building of your brand. So you're not going to get jobs all the time from doing door to door, but I would say that it's a good step of like, hey, I want to just, you know, learn how hard it is, because everyone makes it seem easy. Like, oh, look at all these jobs. But yet, how long have you guys been doing window cleaning? How long have we been doing window cleaning? You know, it's like, we have returning clients. Like right now, like last week, we got like 10 jobs because we had all the returning clients from last year. Like, oh, we want them back. But yet, if I started, I wouldn't have that. So I think door to door is a good start, but eventually you're going to start gradually getting out of it. And then from there, I would say 100% online, 100%.
Yeah. I had a local guy who he started with door knocking for about 6 months, and I think he did something that anyone would do as far as with it. But he was younger, so he wasn't investing with any marketing. But he was in a really, really good area with a lot of money, to be quite honest with you. And so he was smart from the beginning. He just got email, phone numbers. Like when they were done, he got all their contact information. And in 6 months, he was done door knocking and just was completely off referrals or completely off of repeat customers. And he told me, and it was just the way he wanted to do it. He said, I just wanted to get out of that part as quick as possible, just because of, not that it wasn't getting working, it's tiring, just walking around a neighborhood. And then also the idea of, you're selling it and then you're cleaning it. So it's like, man, like, you talk about, maybe doing 1 to 2 jobs a day. Then you add in, okay, first I need to find my first job, do that job, find my second job, then do that job. And a lot of these guys are out all day, but I respect 100% the hustle. And I think it's great that we've seen so many young kids getting into this. I was saying to someone the other day, it's almost like the new lawn mowing for some of these younger kids. And it's a little bit more scary for some of the stuff, but I mean, they get it done and they're safe and, maybe not use ladders and everything, but it's definitely something that they're really getting into.
Yeah. Yep. It's like I just want to say while they're taking a quick break, I heard that he started his YouTube channel because, quote, I could do it better than SteveO. So that's just what I heard in the chat. What he said.
I said that?
Oh, man.
It was on the internet. It can't be a lie.
Okay, wow. That's the first time that, I heard that.
It happens.
Hashtag one clip is what it says.
Yeah. Two clip, unfortunately.
YouTube for me was always what?
Huh? We didn't ask him yet if he's a 1 clip or 2 clip.
Oh my gosh. 2.
I was going to wear the shirt, but
the wife says, "Let's wear our shirts."
So
you gotta wear your shirts. You gotta wear your shirts.
I was like, hey, I should wear it to surprise SteveO before the live stream, and then she's like, no, go professional.
That's okay. It's all right. Yeah. Hey, that brings me into another question, because people just love knowing all this information. Where'd you get your shirts made? Did you do fin print? Do you have someone local?
Yeah, I reached out to you because there was another window cleaner here that he knows someone that does that kind of stuff. So I reached out to them, and he gave me their contact. I reached out to them and never heard back. So I think it was just like the material and stuff. And so I reached out to you, and then you said, oh yeah, thin print. So we ended up, the price was kind of like, a little pricey, but again, we're keeping this for a long haul, and it's nice because we took the long sleeve one. So it's nice that we don't have to put sunblock on our arms. So kind of got annoying every job, spraying there, but fin print, all the way. And it's been, game changer for us.
Yeah. They look good.
My first shirts for Pure Professional I got off of, I don't know what website, but man, like the letters just crumbled after the first wash. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I waited for like 6 months, and then I did fin print, and my shirts have not worn out since. Not that I'm cleaning a bunch anymore, so I'm not getting a lot of wear and tear, but they're super good quality, and anyone that really gets them loves them. Sometimes people will say we look like NASCAR drivers, but okay, that doesn't matter.
Good, you noticed us.
Or like a walking billboard.
Yeah, exactly. We had some questions come in through the chat. And Squeaky Window Cleaning, what is the best rebuttal for that's more than I thought it was going to be, but thank you? So you got turned down because of price. What would you say for rebuttal to someone that says that to you? Either one of you guys. Yeah. You
want to say it?
I didn't really get it.
Okay, can you repeat the question? Sorry, because we were trying to read on here, but it just says,
So let's say you go to a quote and you get turned down because of price. Your price is too much. So thank you for coming, but we're not interested. What's your rebuttal?
So I'm assuming we get, like, let's say rejected on the spot. Okay, so so for us, we try to be honest as much as possible, because we get a lot of people that try to give us like, hey, can you give me a bid? How much with this? They know, like, do like a breakdown of all the windows. Again, I don't know if it's 2-story, 3-story, we don't know any of that. So we like to do it in person. We walk around, and what we do is, I like what you guys always said, like have like an internet presence, like in a sense, like of Instagram. So what we like to do is actually be like, so we charge $5 a screen. For example, if they want something like that, oh, here's our Instagram here. Let me show you how we clean your screens. Oh, nice. We clean your frame, we clean your screen, and they're like, oh, okay. And then from there, they're like, well, what about the windows? So we use, a water fed system. And then I show them a video about it. Oh, wow. And then they kind of get an idea. And then, like I said, because we're there, we kind of know what the price is, because we've been doing this. Is just us, you know.
Yeah.
So we kind of get an idea, and so we say, well, this is the price. And if they say, oh, it's too much for us, okay, no problem. You know, like I know Jersey's probably said it in his podcast in the past. It's like, you know, we're trying to be like unique in everything. You have your unique selling point, right? But we came to the realization that, you know, if some people just, not that they were charging a lot, it's just sometimes, you know, they just can't pay for it, and they're just hoping that it's like $100 job. And they have like 60 windows. You're like, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, you know. Oh, but my previous window cleaner charged me like 200 or whatever. Okay, well, go with them. Oh, they ran out. They're closed. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And something we do, we talk before I give a price. So we go around the house. We see the says like, oh, okay, we're gonna talk in private, and then we give you a quote. So sometimes they say, oh, just text me. But normally we just talk to them. So we talk between us. And then I think we find like a sweet spot that is not too cheap and is not too expensive. So we are confident in our prices, you know. So when we give a price, we already like kind of show them all the benefits of hiring us, like all the Instagram and the methods and everything and the technology. And I think we did a quote, I think it was Saturday. And she said that. But then I was thinking, like, a maid here in LA easily is.
Easily.
Yeah, easily.
Easily is the word.
yeah, easily.
Easily. We're almost back.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so the housekeeper.
A housekeeper here is easily like $200, $300 a day. So you're getting 2 workers in a very unique like area, like specialized in windows, you know, with the equipments. And then you think that's expensive. It wasn't $300, but it was more. But like, you think that's expensive? I don't think it's expensive. So you have to be confident in your price too.
Yeah.
But it hurts when you get.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
that.
Yeah, in the beginning it sucks. Yeah, it sucks. But
he feels very bad.
Yeah, I do.
Like very bad.
Yeah, I'm like mad. Like, but the thing is that at the end of the day, it's the service that we provide too. You know, you're getting quote unquote the owners of the company. We're there. Oh, this person charges cheaper, but yet when we finish the job, we don't get callbacks. You know, like I don't even remember the last time we got a callback because we have that policy. Okay, so we're done. So what is there anything else? Did you walk around the house? You need us to walk with you to see if everything looks good? Oh, everything looks fine. Okay, so then I guess we'll start preparing and packing up and everything like that. And that's it. And so, but yeah, in the beginning, it's kind of, but at the same time, know your worth.
Could you do that?
Well,
I'm the type that goes around. I close all the blinds and I say, "So here's your invoice and here's the amount." And you want to see your views? You can go around and open all of them. I don't want to see the streaks. So
I love that, like talking price, because it is so much harder in the beginning than it is later on. Because like when you have like, oh my gosh, I may work this week, and then they're like, no, it's too expensive. You're like, okay, I'll do it for. But one of the guys that I follow that I know I do not follow 100%, but it's Grant Cardone, because when he talks about objections, he explains what an objection is. When your brain's like, oh, it's too expensive, that's why they can't. But an objection isn't like, I have a problem with this. They're just saying it's too, like you go to a Lamborghini dealer, which I always use stupid analogies, but you go there and you're like, oh, $300,000, that's too expensive. And the guy goes, yeah, it's extremely expensive. Like they're just explaining exactly that it's expensive. So in that same idea of where people are like trying to justify that, you know, where they're like, oh, it's too expensive. You're like, whoa, no. They didn't tell you what it's expensive compared to, right? Is it expensive to a brand new house? No, right?
Yeah.
What are you comparing it to? So instead of even that mindset of like, I have to justify why I'm paying this, it's just like, it's a luxury service, you know, and sometimes it's just not for everybody. Like 1,000% I'm okay with if somebody's like, hey, it's too much for me. I could absolutely be like, you know what? Definitely. But, you know, at least you know now. So going forward, if it does become something in the budget or you just want to treat yourself, now you know, and that's absolutely okay too. But it's really hard in the beginning when you don't know. It's like, ooh, I could either eat or I could, stick to my guns on this one. It's pretty tricky.
Yeah.
And also too, it's the clients too, at the end of the day, you know, like if they really don't see the worth, like again, we mentioned that we show our videos, we show this, is show why we charge that price, and they say no. At the same time, maybe it was better that we didn't get that client. Not that it's anything against them, but I've noticed that some individuals that don't want to pay a lot, they're the most picky. And then they even want services added onto it, like, oh, you're going to remove the paint? Oh, but the contract never said that. We just came for organic. Oh, but there's all this spray paint and this and that. Oh, but we mentioned it to you that wasn't part of the price. And so sometimes even something like that, it's better just to be like, okay, because some clients are like, oh, that's cheap. And we're like, oh, okay.
I mean,
that was outside only. Don't you know?
Oh yeah,
there was one bid that we went to talk, and Andy said, like, I think it was 600, and I was like 750. Trust me in this one.
No, I think I even said 500.
Yes, and I was like, trust me in this one, please. And then he was like 750, and the guy was like, oh yeah, okay. It was like,
yeah, it was crazy. It was just outside only too. I was like, yeah, I don't think it's gonna. All right, well, if we lose the job, not like that, but like, okay, if we lose the job because of the price, okay. He's like, oh, that's a great deal. I was like, yeah.
It's not even what you're providing, it's who you're providing. Like, if you bought a $3 million house, it's not the house, it's the view that they paid for. Like, you know, the same side of it is that if somebody's going to treat themselves with that, it doesn't matter if it's okay for you to buy that. There's people all day long buying, you know, $2,000 bottles of champagne, which I don't even want to buy a $10 bottle of champagne, much less a $2,000 bottle of champagne, but that's somebody. I think the one thing that I feel almost kind of bad. I don't feel bad because I said no for 2 solid months, but I had a lady, and this was the lady with like the guy who did the helicopter naked at the top of the stairs, and my guys never went back. But she was such a fixed income that we had to cash the check like on the exact day. And I'm like, listen, her name was Eleanor, I think. But I was like, Eleanor, we really just don't feel right doing this. Like, I know for you and everything. And she goes, this is my treat. Like, this is what I get. This is all my life. You know, we got our grocery bill and everything. We take all that out. And I know that I think it was every 3 months, I have this amount left. I want clean windows, because she was a gardener. Her backyard was like in magazines, amazing, you know, little house, fixed income. It was her treat. So after a couple months of calling me, I'm like, all right, fine, we'll do it. And we had to cash a check on the exact day we get the check. She'd like, all right, you have 8 days, cash this on this day. But that was her thing. She treated herself to it. So who might argue?
Yeah.
I had something the other day where an HVAC guy came over to do some fixes, and it was $214 before like 2 minutes in. He's like, just so you know, we're at $214 already. I see myself, man, why don't I do this more? Like it was just
why
for
are you
him
telling me this?
There,
I look like
just for him to look at it. It was $214 before he ever started diagnostics. And then that got me thinking, like, wow, if as a window cleaner, if we said to somebody, okay, it's $100 for me to even come out.
Yeah.
I don't know how popular it would be at that rate, you know, but other services do it, which is crazy. So
just wait till you have the elevator guy out for that first service.
No. We got more questions here from Window Cleaners of Brandon. Marketing is such a hot topic for spring. What avenues do people not think about? Most do Google and Facebook ads with some door hangers. What else works? What are other marketing kind of stuff that you'll use, Andy, in your business, other than maybe those popular ones of like Google or Facebook? Or do you even use like Google or Facebook much?
Yeah, we actually stepped back from Yelp. This is like kind of like our first month doing that, because they've been awesome. Really, I know everyone has, you know, in a good way. That's what I love about this field, is that everyone has different viewpoints. Like some people might like Thumbtack, other people might like other ones. But we stopped Yelp because they kept raising the prices, and like they kind of kept trying to rip us off. So then from there we kind of pulled back. So we just have Google. We do have Instagram, obviously YouTube too. But we kind of just have our wrap on our car. That same guy in the same company that told us about like the one that was doing like potentially shirts for us here locally. He referred us to like having like a flag done. So I think that's an awesome thing. Like when we first started, magnets, flag. But door hangers, that's the thing that's kind of like hit and miss here, because here in LA, there's so many different cities. And so some cities actually don't even permit you to even have any soliciting. So it's very like, it's not worth it here in that sense. Not that it doesn't work. It's just that it's like, oh, you try to, you know, do it like you do what you said, like a five around. Yeah, 5 around. So that's pretty cool, right? But the thing is that here, mostly every single place you can't do that. So it's kind of like, oh, we can't even do that. So what we do is just, like I said, online, and then obviously the wrap, and then with our current clients, what we do is like every new season, like spring, like that's right now, what we'll do is we'll send like a text message. Not that it's like trying to be like too much like selling, but be like, hey, spring's here, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, if you want to book us, then this is the date that we have opening and afterwards. And then when summer comes around, hey, this is summer. So that's kind of how we do it. It works, keeps us busy, but that's anything else.
I think our strong is Google.
Yeah,
Google.
Yeah, Google. Yeah.
I should remove this, but now I should be like.
I agree though. Our best one was Nextdoor. We were in so many neighborhoods. We never ever paid for a single ad on Nextdoor. But I mean, we had, I don't know, maybe 100, 200 referrals throughout different neighborhoods, and it got us work all the time. Now, Jersey, back in the 60s when you had your window cleaning business, what was some of the good online marketing you were using during that time?
Online? Oh, MySpace. Yeah, no, we did MySpace advertising. Tom loved it. No, you know, everything kind of works to some degree. It's just what works better. So when you say like, people are like, oh, everybody's on Facebook and Google. Well, that's just because that has the most targeting, and that means I can get the biggest bang for my buck. It's the cheapest cost of acquisition for targeted leads, where you see a lot of that. So that's why it's there. But everything works to some degree. You know what really does work? But if you're trying to text, one of my favorite things to do, and this is like, I mean, back when we kind of didn't even do full text, but is changing the text from like a general sounding text to specific. So we used to do the spring ones, we would say, hey, like, you know, it's coming up and we could do this and blah, blah, blah. And you'd get a couple people do it. We switched it to using the U words and all that, where we would send a mass text, because everybody still had permissions for, you know, all that stuff. But we'd say, hey, I actually have a couple openings coming up in the first week of October, August, whatever the month is. And I was wondering if you wanted to do a morning appointment again, or did you want to try an afternoon appointment? And I'd send that out to like, you know, like I would do like anywhere from like 50 to 100 people at a time. Because if you do too many, it's just like nuts. You would have like 50 to 70% of the people text you back, and they'd be either like, oh yeah, you know what, we're going to wait till spring. Or they'd say, yeah, definitely. That actually works. Could you actually do the third week? And it was so assumed that they were talking specifically to them that it just changed that whole idea where, you know, in ads anyway, you're supposed to talk to one person. I'm not supposed to talk to everybody because everybody's not the customer. It's one person. Changing that just in text, I thought was our biggest like turnaround for stuff.
Yeah.
We had Billy Bob on here, just barely joined when you were talking about door to door. What would you say is your pitch? I would be quite honest. I am not a pitch person. I've never had a script. I've never done that.
Watch his intros.
Yeah, watch this intro, watch the outro. I don't do calls to action with YouTube. I'm horrible about it, but I've always just been about, not that I'm trying to like be different with every single customer, but I've always felt like you just kind of feel the situation out, and you kind of, you know, you get to know the customer. I ask them about them, and it just kind of works out. But we can't really help you there, just because, as you've kind of heard, a lot of it's here. We aren't doing really door to door. But I guess, Andy, when you were doing a little bit of it, what would maybe be like just a quick kind of, how would you greet that at the door when you did that?
So if I were to go back, I would have like a couple points in mind. So this is just me thinking right now. So it's been a while, but
no worries.
I would have a couple points in mind. So I'll just go like, hi, my name's Andy, owner of Pause Window Cleaning. I just serviced your neighbor the other day, and I just wanted to offer my services to you. When was the last time you had your windows cleaned? And so it's kind of like, okay, from there, they say, oh, it's been a while. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, so we offer, and then that's when we say we offer, right? Oh, we offer window cleaning, solar panel cleaning. We stopped doing gutter cleaning. It became too much for us. But we offer window cleaning, solar panel cleaning. And is that something that, and we are licensed and insured. Is that something that you would like to have done, especially if they haven't had their windows cleaned like more than a year? And then they say, oh, okay. Well, I understand that, you know, I came to your house and, you know, you weren't expecting me. But if you would like, if you don't mind, I could go around your house to see your windows, and I could just give you a bid. Even if you don't want the job right now, at least this bid is valid for, I don't know, 3 months. And so because, prices, especially now with inflation, things can change, but I want to lock you in for the next 3 months. This is something that I want to do for you. Is that something that you're willing to do? No, okay. Well, not a problem. I understand. Again, I know that we were here randomly, but here's my business card. If you want me to come back another day, no problem. If you know anyone too, especially if I'm like a new business, and especially because I'm a new business, this is something that, I want to grow. So if you know anyone that does or is interested in window cleaning or solar panel cleaning, feel free to give my card and pass my contact to them. And then that's it.
Nice. Good job. Now, Jersey, what would yours be?
Yeah. So I don't like door to door. If you've not seen any of my stuff, then you're in for a treat. But I don't like door to door because I just don't like the fact that I've never answered my door randomly and be like, yeah. Someone's like, hey, I'm here to give you the best bark. And you're like instantly like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to have a spiel. It's going to be 2 minutes long where I'm going. And then after 2 minutes, I'm like, nope, not interested. And then I'm like, well, I wish I could have cut it off earlier. I just don't like that. Like, even if they came in there and I get to the very end and I find out they're selling, ribeye steaks,
Girl Scout cookies
or bacon.
Oh, yeah.
Keto, I don't get that. But anyway, let's say they're selling that. I'm like, oh, well, okay. So I'm still leery just because they've already started it as door to door. I'm already like, well, why are they starting it this way? Like, I've taken like pest control that way. I've hired them for one and then it got all done. I'm like, why did I even do like, It's just, to me, and I'm just some dumb person. I mean, there's lots of people out there do things different ways, but to me, I just don't like it. So I just have never done that. I have a spiel in what I say in my head, but I'm also relatively good at just kind of babbling sometimes and don't need a spiel. So it can change for everyone.
This is true. Last question, and then I have just two last questions for you guys.
One more question before my two last questions.
Yeah, two last questions. But I think it's a good two last question combo little thing here. Window cleaners of Brandon asked, our prices include everything: glass, frame, screen, and track. Remind me again, what is your price for getting like all of that? If you could like maybe for, let's say, a double hung window, inside and out, cleaning tracks, cleaning the screen, you're removing that screen, you're reinstalling that screen, what would be your ballpark price that you would typically charge?
For us?
Yeah.
So the good thing is that we actually don't do that. We kind of just eyeball it. So nice. We don't have like a set price. The reason why is because it's kind of fair. So what we do is we kind of just give the price for the whole house. Then from there, they sometimes are like, I don't want this window, I don't want that one. We're like, look, it's included. It's not going to change the price. And they're like, oh, get excited, right? And then from there, if they wanted screen clean done, that's $5. It's included to remove and put on. But if you want us to clean it, like a deep clean, that's $5. And a track, I think we raised the price on that. I think now we do it for $5 or something like that, $6. Nice. Because the thing is that what we used to do is just say, oh, it's $3, like a track, in a sense that the little space where the window goes on top, but they might think it's the whole thing. So then we were kind of just like, oh, let's just keep it simple. It's one window. It's like $6 or whatever. So it's kind of, we didn't really raise the price, but it's kind of just like, instead of having to explain that. So that window, I don't know, but then the track at least is like $6. And then from there, the screen will be $5.
Yeah.
Nice. Jersey, what would yours be?
Man, mine is, I would be at 25, 6, 7, 8, $28. That'd be inside, outside, track, sills, frames, the whole kit and caboodle.
Yep.
I would literally say that to every person too.
Kit and caboodle?
No, it's like the track, sills, frames, the whole kit and caboodle. It like takes their well, I'm also Midwestern originally, so there's like weird words we use, but that would like take the ease of it off, where it's easy.
I think a lot of people are typically around even like the 15 to 20 as far as who we talk to. And it's typically because they think that sometimes like deep clean tracks are included. That seems to be the biggest missed mark with people that are just beginning, is they feel like they have to clean the track and deep clean it and make sure it looks perfect, where that is like a whole nother service. It's not like window cleaning, and it could take you just as long to clean the tracks as it takes to clean the windows. And typically what amazes me is that customers are more weird about if those are perfect rather than the glass. And it's like,
it's nice not offering it, because I mean, and again, you could do things however you want, but like screens, not everybody needs screens. Not everybody needs deep sills. I've been in some places where I'm like, Was somebody just, I literally was like 3 windows in. I'm like, they just had somebody and forgot they hired us. And we just like showed up and they're like, oh crap. And like, they looked that clean. She's like, no. It's just I keep a clean house. I'm like, all right. Cause they do not look like you've ever opened these windows. They look brand new. So some people just don't need it either.
Well, with one thing about the tracks that we like to tell people is kind of like the process that we're like, this is more like a construction clean. So if you want us to pull out the vacuum, the spray bottle, the brush and everything, you're paying for something that's like extreme. So I said, if anything, maybe your housekeeper or someone that comes can just clean it, because you're paying for a service that in reality it's like overkill. So then they're like, oh, that makes sense. And then we end up not doing it because no one likes tracks either.
And they're not paying you necessarily for just your time. Like where some people are like, you work for me for this hour. Here's like, no, I work like if I have to pick up like dog poop, I'm going to charge more for that than I am to like, pet kittens for an hour. Like there's different dollars. So it's not just that either. So when you do like sills or like, really, really, deep cleaning stuff where it's like, man, this is going to take forever. My knuckles are going to hurt. I got to pull them back. Like you're going to get paid for that. It's going to be different.
It's good to have a contract for sure before you start. So you can always be like, oh yeah, well that was included or whatever. Yeah. So that saved us a lot.
So we are at an hour, but I want to ask this question. This is a question we're going to do with everybody that comes on here. And what is your biggest fail in business? And what's your biggest success in business?
Okay,
so just for you guys.
You want to answer?
It's a big one.
Yeah. The biggest
interesting question.
The biggest.
It can even be like, you totally underbidded like a quote, went and did it, and it was like a big learning experience. Like that for me was some of my like biggest fails, right? Or like when I began window cleaning, I was way too much of a Nazi of like window cleaning must be done this way. And over time, I learned with so many different employees that I had to relax and let people kind of I had to build them up from the basics and kind of let them grow. And then just some of the successes was being able to, be with Jim and help him grow his business and just different stuff like that. So kind of along those lines.
As you're thinking about that too, if you guys are in the comments and you are watching, tell us your biggest fail and your biggest success, because this is a very interesting question. I really like these questions, by the way.
I think when it comes to being a success, I think it's going to obviously vary for everyone, but I think the best way is just to say no, in a sense that you go to a job. I've had that a couple of times, even like forgiving a bid. And I'm looking at it, you can make a lot of money out of it, but you have to do the ratio of like, is it even worth it? Could I do another job that's like half the work, less than half the price, but then I'm in and out and everyone's happy? Or do I want to go through that struggle of going there? Like you were saying, you're working for the person for this hour and like you feel like really bad about yourself. And I think that's the biggest win. It's just to learn to get to that point where it's better just to say no, suffer with not having a job, especially if it's like your slow season. But for the biggest fail, I would say not knowing properly everything in the sense of window cleaning. Because when I first started, and that's kind of why I did this YouTube channel, is because I wanted to help people out. Like in the beginning, I didn't know what to do. Like, how do you remove hard water? How do you do this? Yeah. Then I fell into your videos or SteveO's videos and also Jersey's podcast. Got into those and started listening to it, watching it. Got really familiar with it because then I was like, man, this is a problem that I'm having. And SteveO's like, oh, this and that. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that's exactly what I was facing, And then Jersey too, like, oh, raise your prices, do this, do that. Oh, how to, like your experiences and all that knowledge that you have. It's like, oh, okay, so all that stuff. So I think, I guess the best way to do it, I got a water fed, right? When I first started, I got a Unger N light. It was just a DI only little, pedacito de gente, they say it in Spanish, like a little small something. And what ended up happening was I saw everyone on YouTube, not SteveO or anyone in WCR's videos, but I saw people just going up there, just going with the brush and everything. And you just like do this and then the windows will be perfect. So I bought this system in hard water, right? Yeah. Especially here in Southern California. I did my first job and I was like bragging about it. I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be great. And they're like, really, that little small thing? And I was like, yeah. Well, that is kind of small, but okay, yeah. I did the whole job, and then I had water spots everywhere, and I was like, I ended up redoing the whole job by hand and everything. So that's what I mean, like not knowing your tools, especially if you have the right tools and not using it correctly. So I guess that's my biggest fail, unfortunately.
That's great. We see that quite a bit, and that you know, sometimes somebody just won't reach out to do the research, and it's totally understandable. Like you just don't know. And there were many things I didn't know about Pure Water when I first started Pure Water that I had to learn over time. I was taught by someone with just the absolute worst technique, and just they did not care about the quality of the job. They didn't care about the customer. They cared to get done at, you know, a certain time each day, and that was their goal. And they just really, it was different. And that's where I learned. And that's where I kind of started my YouTube channel as well, was just learning from someone that was like, man, you've held back like so many things from me on purpose, just so that I wouldn't be not above them, but so I couldn't get to their caliber or even past that. And that was a big reason why I started mine too, is just to be able to teach and to help. And not that I'm, you know, trying to, you know, invent anything new, but just to help others, which was good.
They helped us. I'll tell you that.
That's why I started the one clip thing. I just want to help people know that there's a better way out there. And it's one clip.
What do you think? Do you have any?
Okay, so my biggest fail is I can't do pool work.
Oh, the water fed pool.
Man, the best at like okay, here's my biggest failure. Are you ready?
Okay, here we go.
Okay, let's try to fix this because that was the worst timing. Okay. Explain to me.
Okay, so I can't do pool work. Like there was one job that the sun was facing me, and it was like 2 stories. And I think I cleaned that window like 3 times, and I was almost crying because I couldn't get it right.
And you had the right solutions. You had the, what was it that we always used? I'm blanking out right now.
Everything was right. But that day
high slide and all that
stuff.
stuff.
That one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that day I couldn't do pool work. So thankfully, like I have my husband, and then I called him like, oh no, I can't do this. I can't do this. I was angry already. I couldn't. And then the sun will hit, and then we'll have like those marks.
Oh yeah.
Like it was awful.
Yeah.
And I think that I think that, how to say, what I feel proud about us, about our company, is that we are a couple, and this helps a lot to people feel very comfortable around us. Yeah. They feel comfortable having a woman inside the house and detailing, and then they pass by and I go a little bit, and then I see like some spots, and they like that.
Yeah, because she does the outside and I do the I do the outside. She does the inside,
yeah.
So. I don't know if we mentioned that, but yeah, that's kind of nice because a lot of times too, a lot of people have like, let's say the babysitter taking care of the babies and stuff. And like, you know, they kind of need to have that trust of like, oh, like she was saying, like, oh, it's nice to have a woman inside the house. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. When I worked with my wife, I mean, we got tips all the time, and then she stopped working and I didn't get a tip since. So, you know, it's just life. But anyways, we are to our hour that we usually do. I want to thank you guys for coming on. It was a great episode. Really, really enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun. Jersey, do you have anything to share?
I do. First off, I want to say thanks to everybody who put comments in and hearted the channel. If you haven't yet, this is SteveO's YouTube channel. So make sure to go ahead and like it and subscribe, but more importantly. And before we let you go, tell everybody how they can find your YouTube channel and how they can subscribe, because everybody's looking for more subscribing.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have our YouTube channel, our Instagram. We have a Facebook, but we never really use it. But it's the same name, Pause Window Cleaning. I think we've in YouTube been on it for next month will be a year, so that will be pretty cool. So yeah, we have a lot of videos there, a lot of shorts. We pretty much try to post a short like every day on the weekday. But yeah, that's how you can catch us. It's on YouTube, Instagram under Pause Window Cleaning.
Yeah. Nice. And I will share their
subscribe.
And I'll share their channel in the comments on this video as well, so you guys can easily find
awesome.
it.
Thanks.
Yeah. No problem.
Yeah. And the last thing before we go, I just want to say, if you haven't got your subscription, the AWC magazine, we just got a new layout. The entire magazine has changed, and I just got the first revision today, and it's phenomenal. I'll show you after this, Steve. So if you haven't yet, go to awcmag.com, get yourself a subscription. and be a nerd like the rest of us who subscribe to a magazine about window cleaning.
all the stickers, right?
Yes, all stickers. yes. Awesome. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and if you're watching this and you want to come on here like Paz Window Cleaning and just I'm gonna use one of your sayings, shoot the poo. Let me know, email me, and we'll get it going. Alrighty, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
All right. Bye, guys. Thanks again.
Show that.